Welcome to iPen Podcast, Interviews and Conversations. Here we bring entrepreneurs and their business to their audience and communities as well as ours. We welcome and connect with them to share who they are and what they do. Authors, entrepreneurs, we extend the invitation to promote your business here on our podcast and in iPen Magazine. Your article, your story, your promotions, how you can connect with others, a new audience, a quarterly magazine presented online for all to view and subscribe to. For articles, ads, and subscriptions, please contact ipendesigns@gmail.com. For your viewing, you can see past articles, past interviews on www.nanettembuchanan.com. Welcome to the show. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, hey, hey. It is the last Monday in what they have declared as Black History Month. And the reason why I say they is because we actually celebrate all year round. We actually celebrate every day of our life. There's someone that we could look at, even if it's us. We can look at and say, you're a part of Black history. So tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. We don't have the special guest that's written the book, or the special guest that's a leader, or the special guest that's done something that has contributed to the community, regardless to what or who they are in their ethnicity or in their birthright or whatever you want to call it. Tonight we're going to talk about Black history, and we're going to talk about Black history, our connections yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Because what good does it do to know the history if you don't know how it connects us, how it makes us who we are? But one thing that remains the same is, as the commercial said, we'd love to have you on our podcast for inspiration. All you have to do is contact ipendesigns@gmail.com. Give us your name, tell us what you do, and we give you the rest. And we love to have you there because we do have a magazine, and we are looking for more people to be in our next issue. Our April issue is getting ready to come out, and we're looking for people to go into our next issue. Our summer issue will be out shortly. And these months go by so quickly that we want to make sure that you are a part of the information that we give out. Now, before we get into the conversation, as you well know, I always introduce my partner in crime, Felice Reeves, but I got a special guest for you because no crime is done with just one person. So we have a second partner in crime, and I just want to introduce to you Miss Felice Reeves first. Felice, come on to the stage. How are you, sweetie?
I am well. Happy Black History every single day.
Yes, every single day. Every single day. Yes. It's nothing wrong with Black History Month being celebrated. You get up in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you go, I am Black history.
Yes. And as you said, we have a special guest in and of her own right, because first of all, she happens to be Black.
Yes. And she's part of Black history. Just because of that. And she is a special guest. And the thing is, and the only reason why I said special guest is because she's in the background. She's in the background, just like Felice.
Yeah, right.
Things in the background. You guys don't know how important these ladies are to me. They're the type of people that you can call up 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning and go, I don't know what I'm doing. And they go, well, wait a minute. It's 2 in the morning. Call me when you really get up, because I'm not really up. And we understand each other on all levels. We understand each other. But bringing it into the fold is our guest, Gheisha Smith. And I want to bring her to the stage. Gheisha, how are you? How are you, my dear?
I'm good. Yay. Ready for such interesting conversation. I always love, I love a good conversation.
Yes. So we're going to get into one tonight. We're going to make sure that we give the audience exactly what we were saying. As I said at the beginning of my introduction, I said it's Black history, our connection, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And it's not about us labeling who has done what.
Right.
We want you to understand that, and we welcome anybody to join in the comment section of the live feed. You can come in and ask your questions, or come in and make a statement.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. But the thing about it is, yes, we put up these people and we put up these signs, and I collect the items every year. I look for new people, new people that were in history, because it's so many.
Yeah.
It's so many. But if we don't recognize the value of the connection,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lost cause.
Yes.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we want to go into some of the areas that we thought as women, you notice we don't have a man on the panel. We excluded them for various reasons, but we want to make sure that you understand that men are included in the history,
Yeah.
and men are a valuable part of our history. But what
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to do was to go into some of the things that we as women feel are important for our children, our children's children, our community. And ladies, I know you agree with me that that's what a lot of the women, and we're going to get to that, but that's what a lot of the women did. We held up the community when
Mm-hmm.
our were not able to, for various reasons. For
And
various reasons.
yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to the different categories, and we're going to wing it all the way around, and in our comments and everything. But the first one is the family dynamics. And let me just break down the family dynamics, the history and ancestral ties.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know my history.
Mm-hmm.
I know how far back my history goes.
Mm-hmm.
However, knowing names and knowing who they are,
Right.
nah. And a
Yeah.
lot of us don't. A lot of those
Mm-hmm.
branches are so deep into the roots of our tree that
Yeah.
we might have to go back 5, 6, 7, 8 generations before we realize that there's a connection to the various places in Africa. And people don't just think that Africa is one big pool and everybody just came from the same area, the
Yeah.
same tribe, and the same this and the
Mm-hmm.
same that. And some of us did not come from that tribe in Africa. Some of us came from a tribe that might have been in Spain. Some of us came from a tribe that might have been located somewhere else. But we are considered an African race. We're considered a Black race. There's Black Spaniards. There's Black Britain. In Britain, they have Blacks. So there's a lot. French, Creole. We can go down a whole list of languages and different things where we relate. For me, I can go back about 4 generations, I believe. Yeah, 4 or 5 generations, and I'm right there in Africa. I have a crescent. It's the Amos Crescent. And yes, I am related to John Amos, the actor. His father was my grandmother's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Their grandfather was from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have a crescent. We have the Amos Crescent during the time of Roots. He brought the crescent to a family reunion, gave us that crescent on T-shirts, gave us that crescent on books, and said, "This is your family crescent. This is your family shield. This is where your family comes from."
Mm-hmm.
But coming here to America, we all were broken. Families were torn apart.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, not only did we not know where we came from, where our roots were, but we didn't even know where we came from in our neighborhood.
Right.
And that's where the historical issue becomes, a little watery.
Well,
We don't know that.
and you use an interesting play on words in that about we coming to America. That's funny.
Yes.
And then and then you say about our watery. That's even more funny. So it's like because when we're looking at those, and most of the time, I think the majority of us don't want to look because we've been so severed from those ties. Like a tree, and the roots normally go deep down in the ground, and even when they're up above the ground, they're thick and they're unmovable. But just to know that the uprooting has left us really seeking, you know, where from whence we came. And if, in my opinion, if you know our one true God and you follow Jesus, our roots go way deeper than even in Africa.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and so even in our family dynamics, that has been lost. I've been reading the Bible and I'm going through the Old Testament, and just when they talk about the lineage of who is this and who is
That's
that,
right.
and it just goes and goes. And so how do we've lost that thread even.
Exactly.
Just,
Well, I think we lost it because we no longer have matriarchs of the family.
mm-hmm,
Nobody wants to carry the torch.
mm-hmm,
I think that in current day time,
mm-hmm,
like I was saying yesterday, everybody is so interested in the speedy thing. They want to be able to do several different things at several different times. They don't want to sit down next to uh well, what we call our my grandmother was mama, and
mm-hmm,
mama's mother was my Minnie.
yeah,
Okay.
mm-hmm,
Right,
yeah.
right.
No, and
Mommy. But not everybody wanted to sit down and
And
listen
listen, and
to
listen.
what they had to say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I I I'm the grandma. I'm grandma's baby, so
yeah,
I liked sitting and
right,
listening to what was.
mm-hmm,
I know a little bit more of the history. So in my family
mm-hmm,
right now, I'm getting all of the information that I pass down to my children,
yeah,
but not all children are interested because in my group of kids,
mm-hmm,
not all my kids want to know.
yeah,
I got maybe 2 out of 5 that go,
mm-hmm,
what, really?
yeah,
And I try to, I try to tell them, but I think because we're in the internet phase,
mm-hmm,
everybody thinks they can Google it,
yeah,
or they could go to Surrey and ask
yeah,
them on the way to doing something else, but not really taking the time out to sit and have a cup of coffee or tea, or
mm-hmm,
and just listen to
Talk
what
about it.
grandmother or great
Mhm.
grandmother has to say. I
mm-hmm,
think it's a lost art,
yeah,
and it's a lot of things that people just aren't doing anymore.
yeah,
And the thing about it is, I also think that because we commercialized,
mm-hmm,
in a positive way, but then again in a negative way, because we've commercialized Black History Month,
mm-hmm,
our children don't imagine
mm-hmm,
someone being in their family line or
mm-hmm,
someone being in their family
mm-hmm,
contributing to anything that the history has to do with.
yeah,
You know, they're not looking at it in that manner. They're looking at the Black history. Oh, someone had to make a car, or someone
mm-hmm,
had to be a scientist, or someone had
mm-hmm,
to be, something above the norm of
yeah,
what they're used to. So
mm-hmm,
when grandma wants to sit down and talk about some of the history,
mm-hmm,
you're not talking about the famous history. You're just talking
mm-hmm,
about what Uncle Joe did or what Aunt Sue did. How
mm-hmm,
many of them did something spectacular that would
mm-hmm,
be worthy of Instagram, or be
yeah,
worthy of TikTok, or be
mm-hmm,
worthy of what they follow today?
yeah,
Because I automatically said when my children were coming up, we're not going to talk about the every year
mm-hmm,
icon
mm-hmm,
for Black history. I
mm-hmm,
need you to go and find someone that no one might know about.
yeah,
Find someone, and that person may very well, and they are, in someone's family.
yeah,
There's someone's cousin. There's someone's uncle. There's
mm-hmm,
someone's aunt.
mm-hmm,
They're in that family. So I think in the family dynamics, we have to express that our history,
mm-hmm,
regardless, we don't know, because we don't know those roots and we don't know those connections.
mm-hmm,
Um, I worked at a job where I found out I had more cousins there than I had friends there, and did not know it
yeah,
until, as a matter of fact, this year we actually got confirmation
mm-hmm,
from an elder, where someone sent me a picture and said, "Hey, I told you we were related. I
yeah,
know we are. Here's
mm-hmm,
a picture." And
wow,
when I sent the picture to the senior in the, what I see as the senior in the family,
mm-hmm,
she said, "Oh, I remember her. I
oh,
remember the family."
mm-hmm,
So now, the person is saying to me,
mm-hmm,
"I told you when we were working together
yeah,
that we were related because you
mm-hmm,
looked like
yeah,
my aunt so and so."
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Hmm.
So we need to really reconnect
Yeah.
those ties, those ancestral ties.
Hmm. Well, I think there's so much missing from that because even Gheisha, as you said, that that the new generations aren't even interested in it, but they've been so disconnected. And I could speak for myself more so about the disconnect of yes, you have a relationship with your grandmother, and I, my maternal grandmother, I don't have any. She died on my fourth birthday, and there's all kinds of history.
Well, no, that grandmother is deceased.
Uh-huh.
So
No,
she's
no,
not here.
yeah, no, understand, but you had that. You had
Yes,
that sense of
yes,
being with her.
until I
And
15.
so, and then with, um, I feel like my mother's generation and her mother, yes, they weren't that far removed from slavery, maybe two generations, maybe.
Right,
It's just that, like, say for instance, the migration from the north or from the south to the north, right? So for the most part, yes, all they knew about slavery, and but what they were trying to do was more or less separate themselves from slavery, right?
Hmm.
And so they took on this new identity of a freedman, right? And so that's the thing that they were passing down to their children, is that yes, we were slaves and we came from that, and it was horrible, and these were the experiences of that, but you're no longer that. You are
Hmm.
a free person, right? And then coming to the generations thereafter, where we were living in this segregated uh, society. It became all about fighting for the equality, right? So then that focus became there, right? And then so for me, um, my my father, he went into the military. Now, he was born and raised in Georgia all of his life, and then as an adult, he went into the military. Well, the military took him to places you never thought to even think about, in because he's come from a little bitty small town in Georgia, right? Country with the capital K, right? So his identity shifted, and my life was not of being raised with my cousins and my grandparents and aunts and uncles. We were merely visitors as we go back.
hmm
So there,
hmm
so again, that those the severance from the roots has become the thing, and now evolving into our society today, as you just said, the internet is if we think about something or see how we're connected, we go to this artificial intelligence to give us where we have come from, but it can never give us the. And we talked about this the other day, the context of
And
that, right?
freestyling, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
I have in my family, we have a cousin and we call her the birthday queen, right? So if she doesn't post you on social media, did you really have a birthday? No, I'm not sure if it's my birthday.
Right.
They
That's the validation, huh?
Okay, I don't care what time of day she say it. If she don't say happy birthday, my birthday don't start until she put my happy birthday up there. Because
Right. No, I get it.
I promise you, there are so many of us because
Hmm.
my mother is one of 8 girls, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But her mother has cut is from 4 girls, one and 2 boys, right?
Hmm.
So imagine they have all of them have children, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
She not only has me, she gets my children and my 2 grandchildren. I can't imagine.
Wow.
I don't even want to know what her phone book looks like,
Yeah.
but she gets us all.
Wow.
And she and I don't have the same grandmother. Our
Hmm.
grandmothers were sisters.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yes.
So she and I are third cousins. We're not
Mhm.
even second cousins.
Wow.
And this girl, I think that's her job. She's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
stenographer for the family.
Uh-huh. Oh, I love it. I love it.
But
She's got.
those are the ties, and those are the ties that
Yeah.
we're talking about. That
Mhm.
if we start with the ties, it's so much easier for our youth to
Mhm.
understand and our people to understand the essence, the
Mhm.
value
Yeah.
in the history.
Mhm.
If we tie into the family value, and
Mhm.
that's why I wanted to kick it off with the family value,
Mhm.
and as you said, going into how we lived, how we moved on,
Mhm.
how we got to where we are, how did we elevate ourselves.
Mhm.
We started out with historical gatekeepers.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
not that we don't have the gatekeepers of today, but we
Mhm.
started out with historical gatekeepers.
Right.
That's actually what they were.
Mhm.
They didn't want us to have our own property. They didn't
Mhm.
want us to have our own businesses. They didn't want
Mhm.
us to have our own farms. Even
Mhm.
even the little that we had,
Mhm.
they did not want us to be able to expand on any of it.
Yeah.
So we had in business those historical gatekeepers. But then, like we said, yesterday, today, and tomorrow,
Mhm.
today the gates are open.
Mhm.
But is it
Mhm.
is
Is
it
it right?
is it
Maybe it's
though?
crack.
Well,
It's a
wait a
crack.
minute,
It's
wait
a
a
crack.
minute,
It's
wait
a
a
crack.
minute, wait a minute. The gates are open
Mm.
to those that dare
Mm.
to venture
Mhm.
beyond what we already know.
So you should say they're unlocked. Maybe not open. They're unlocked.
They're not open.
Mhm. They're unlocked.
And I wouldn't even say they're unlocked.
Mm.
I would say there are certain people that go and get a key made.
Mm,
Mm.
mm.
Okay,
Yeah,
I like it. I
I
like
like
it.
it. I
Because
like
Yeah.
it.
you got to think our
Mhm.
generational wealth, most people's generational wealth comes from property.
Mhm.
So even though they quote unquote, and it's air quotes, took away redlining, there's
Mhm.
redlining in another way.
They
Mm-hmm.
didn't take
Mm-hmm.
away redlining. They did not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They
And
may have
and
caused it, but they didn't take it away.
No,
right,
They,
they
no,
merely
no.
moved the bar. That's
right,
all they did.
Exactly.
right,
And the closer that we get to the bar,
right.
every time we find a way or the path or what the understanding of the movement is,
Hmm.
the bar moves again.
It's the dangling carrot, you know. You can you. It's the
Right.
dangling carrot.
It
You're
moves. So
always
the
trying
thing about it
to.
is,
Yeah.
again,
Mhm.
keeping it in track with our Black history and keeping it
Mhm.
in track with what it is,
Mhm.
we have to tell the story of how there was a Black Wall Street.
Mhm.
There was.
We have to tell the story of the migration and the
Mhm.
movement.
Mhm.
We have to tell the story of what we did not settle for
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
a movement in education, as a movement in learning, as a movement in reading, and as a movement in writing. We
Mhm.
did not allow, or our ancestors did not allow, to just sit and stay dormant where they were.
Mhm.
Oh no.
They were the ones that said, hey, just like Gheisha said, hey,
Let's
I need
make
a
it.
key.
Make me key. Let's make
Make
it.
me a key.
We
Make,
will
make
make a
me a
key.
key.
We will make the key.
Or we will make a
Yes,
key,
we will make the key.
or we'll find a back door and we'll
Yeah.
go out that way and go
Mhm.
For sure.
around to the front of the building.
For sure.
We're going to make it to the front of the
Mhm.
building because the front of the building shows the view of
Mhm.
paths that we can take to
Yeah.
go further than where we are. If
Mhm.
we stay at the back door and never go out of it,
Mhm.
we'll never get to the front. We'll never
Mhm.
get to the road that's going to lead us somewhere else. So
Right.
we have to tell that story. We have
Mhm.
to connect that story. And especially nowadays, it's so funny. Everybody thinks that it's so easy to make the dollar.
Mm.
Nowadays it's a thing of I can go on TikTok and I can sell some
Mm.
products.
Oh yeah, that
It,
that kind of easy. Yeah.
it's easy
Yeah.
for me to make a couple of dollars. No, I don't
Mhm.
want that job that's paying $10 because if I go on TikTok, I can make this instant, gratification. I can go and
Mhm.
do this and I can go and do that.
Yeah.
And in our generation,
Mhm.
or at least in my generation, it was more of go get the education,
Mhm. Yeah.
go to school, learn. And then
Mhm.
of course we were given the opportunity to have, well, when I went there were no scholarships.
Mhm.
You had to work to get your scholarship,
Mhm.
regardless if you were great in basketball or whatever you did. You could be an academic whiz, but you're gonna work to get that scholarship because you're black.
Mhm.
You're gonna still have to work to get it. you're,
Mhm.
you're gonna have to work for it. So the thing about it is, then it moved on to, we're gonna give you scholarships.
Yeah.
We want more of you in school.
Mhm.
We want more of this. We want more of that. And then all of a sudden it was, well, wait a minute, we're giving out too many scholarships and it's too many of them
Mhm.
that are taking advantage of the opportunity.
Mhm.
We're giving away too much.
Mhm.
So we have to remember that there's always a gate
Mhm.
and there's always a gatekeeper.
Mhm.
And we have to be aware of, you have to make arrangements for when that gate is locked with a chain and a padlock
Mhm.
and your key doesn't fit.
Mhm.
What do you do about your business, your finances, and moving on if you don't know the history?
Yeah.
Because then you freak out. What
Mhm.
do you mean I can't do that? What do you mean I can't get that? But look at the history.
Right. Right.
I think that in the last 20 years, um, let's say for sake of argument, 30 years. In the last 30 years, you've had such an influx of Googling things or looking up things, where before you had to go to the card catalog, go to the
Yeah.
library, pull a
Mhm.
book, pull it down.
Yeah.
Now everything is literally
Mhm.
in your hand.
Yes.
And so, as far as knowledge is concerned,
Mhm.
about finances and things like that. Um, the Bible says, "Seek and you shall find; not
Yes.
will be open." Right.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
if they're looking, they're going to find it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But because everything is so fast paced now, and that was my point. My point is, things are moving
Yeah.
so swiftly
Mhm.
now
Mhm.
that people are they're no longer standing in it long enough to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we seeking? What are we looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, in this society, which was we were invited to, it's still not.
I ain't even answer my invite, but go ahead, go ahead. I don't think my family had like when they sent ours. I don't think they had sent ours to the right place because we would have told them that we
Yeah,
would have
no,
asked who all was going to be
yeah,
there and not go.
no, no.
I think we would have went.
We would have said no. Just straight up point back, we would have said no. But here's the thing, and I'm sorry because I don't want to make light of that, but I do need to make light of it because it is so heavy and
It is.
it drags you down into that. However, so the yeah, the invitation was put out, but it wasn't for us to be in attendance at the party. It was for
Mm-hmm.
us to work the party, right? And
Right.
so
Yes,
and so
yes.
it was never with the intention of us
Being
figuring
able to
out
catch
the
on.
party, right? The party
Right.
because again, we're not the guests at the party. We're merely the people that go in
Where the help? Where the
we
help?
or even to not even the help per se in the help, but we were the ones that were there making the linens for the tablecloths that be laid out on
Mm-hmm.
the, and we were there to um, make candles. I don't know. I'm just making all this up, but
Right, right,
we would
right,
go
right.
into a beehive, get beeswax, and turn it into candles so that they can take the candles and use them at their party. So that's where we were positioned. And so now, when we say let's go find out because the gate's been open, let's go get a key, let's make a key to open up this gate, and we're going in. What are we looking for? I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
the thing. Do we even know what we're looking for? Because
Mm-hmm.
we've been so far in the background to this party, to the end result of all of the work that we've done, that you are disconnected from the magnitude of being the guest at the party and the party goer versus the one that is back there.
Well, you've made a great analogy that the party looks so well.
Mm-hmm.
They look so well
Mm-hmm.
dressed. They
Yeah.
look so comfortable in the
Mm-hmm.
party. They
Mm-hmm.
look so giddy when they drink the wine or
Mm-hmm.
the booze that's there. They look so full when they eat the food.
Yeah.
They look so happy when they get in their big cars.
Mm-hmm.
They look so aligned and
Mm-hmm.
intellectual
Yeah.
when they speak the proper
Mm-hmm.
English. They look so much like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I gotta be in
Mm-hmm.
order to fit in.
But
Mm-hmm.
here's the future part of that. The future part of that is that some of us don't want a key anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-mm,
We don't want a key to that door.
Yes.
We don't
mm-mm,
want a key to the door. We don't want to pull up in the driveway.
Yes.
We don't
mm-mm.
want you to bring us out a meal.
Mm-hmm.
We want to go to another part
A
into
whole
our
nother,
own.
and
Yes.
that's
We
where
don't even want, some of us, the future is that we don't really want
we
to
don't
sit
want
at their
yours.
table.
Yeah.
But not
That's
We
only
don't
right.
that,
want to sit at their
but not
table.
only that,
Right.
that's where the gatekeeper comes
Mm-hmm.
in,
Well,
because then the gatekeeper says, "Well, wait a minute.
mm-hmm.
It's all right for you to come every now and then to
Mm.
my party.
Uh-huh.
It's all
Yeah.
right for you to pull up in your big car.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right for you to have on your nice suit. It's all
Mm-hmm.
right for you to bring your wife, your friend, your lady, or your husband with you
Mm-hmm.
as a guest. As a
Mm-hmm.
matter of fact, you can even invite a couple of your friends.
Mm-hmm.
But when you walk out on that green grass
Mm-hmm.
and you go beyond the tables and the pool and the golf course and everything else, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not expecting you to go out that back gate and build your own on the other side of that fence.
Right. Well, and
I want you to always to come
mm-hmm.
through my party in order for you to celebrate yours.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm gonna take that just one a little step further than that. So yeah, you're invited to the party, but you have to pay for your ticket to get in.
And
Right.
everybody else is free.
Right.
And
Mhm.
Yes,
that's the
you
problem.
have to pay for your
Eh,
ticket to get in, and then yes, and then don't kind of take anything from the party and then try to apply it to your life, because it's only good for if you're in my
My party
my party, right?
with my group.
So
Mhm.
and I don't want you, because now that you're in the party, you understand that there's such a big disconnect to the essence of the party. There's no appreciation for that candle that is sitting on the table because there was no effort for the party goers to all they did was say, "Give it to me, here it is," and they're using it for just gratification, not in the sense that they're connected to it, to really have ownership in that. And so when we have ownership and we take from them the idea of this party and go and create our own party, it's always so much better.
Yeah, and
Because,
not only that, a perfect thing from history, and this is just a funny note from history.
mhm,
And I know we had discussed this prior that we were trying to stay away from historical figures or those that thought they were historical figures and really weren't. But I
mhm,
have to say this, that a lot of times in our awareness, when we become aware of what
mhm,
wasn't, like you said,
mhm,
you didn't make the candle. You
right.
know, the room
Yeah.
is lit, but you didn't really make
Mhm,
you didn't make the candle, nor did you make the light bulb after
mhm.
all, because we know that he didn't make the light bulb.
Oh,
But
he did,
anyway,
but there was once he made the outer of it, but the
yeah,
thing that made
yeah,
it the light bulb to stay a light
he
bulb
didn't
was
make the light bulb.
right.
But here's a funny thing.
Mhm,
Just taking it, and you guys already know, and the audience that follows us already knows that my son is a comedian, and he's
mhm,
always been a comedian
mhm,
all of his life.
mhm,
Um, uh, he had a paper that was due on
mhm.
Black History Month. And I again explained that no, you got to go find someone
Yeah.
that you don't know anything about.
Mhm.
And he decided that that's what he wasn't going to do. He was going to wait till the last minute and write
Mhm.
about Christopher Columbus.
Oh.
oh Jesus. He
So
did find a, you know what? I
wait a
understand.
minute,
I
wait a
got it.
minute. So I'm furious because he comes home with this paper that's got all of these red marks all over it. And I told him, I told you
Mhm.
to find something in Black history.
Yeah.
Christopher Columbus is not black.
Nope.
But
He
he is
wasn't
But he
a,
is
writing
a
about
he was a
Christopher.
gateway
He
to
was,
our
well, no,
history.
wait a minute. He
he
was
was a part
writing
of Black
about the
history.
person
Hmm.
who did discover the Americas and woke Christopher
Right.
Columbus up.
Hmm.
There you go.
The teacher was furious
Mm.
because he
Right.
nobody really knows who the guy was.
Yeah.
Nobody knows
Yeah.
anything about this guy, but my son
Hmm.
read deeply into, well, who was the one that was navigating and who was
Yeah.
the one that, so Christopher, you did not discover anything.
Hmm.
No, he didn't. He was actually lost.
You were
Hmm.
actually lost.
Hmm.
And this black person who was
Hmm.
navigating the boat and steering the boat and doing everything with the boat
Hmm.
woke you up to the Americas.
Hmm.
And of course, you took it upon yourself to rename it and do everything that you did and go back and tell the queen. So my son wrote this paper, and I now had to go to school to explain to this teacher it is a part of Black history because
Hmm.
It
the
is.
guy was,
It
the
is.
guy was
It is.
It
black.
definitely is.
So again, the connections that are made,
Yeah.
we don't know all of the history because like
Hmm.
any other written literature, it's
Hmm.
been changed over time after time after time
Hmm.
after time.
Right. Right.
But our connections in
Hmm.
business and in finance and in those historical gatekeepers
Hmm.
is a
Well,
reason
moving.
for us to look at it and say, even the smallest business person,
Hmm.
even the smallest business person, the one who makes jewelry and
Hmm.
sells it on their table on
Hmm.
Saturdays,
Yeah.
is a creator
Hmm.
and
Mhm.
is someone that should be recognized as someone that's advancing the
Hmm.
history
Yeah.
because
For sure.
that's how we started.
Right. Right. And again, going back to our party going analogy, it's just that we need to understand, really have a firm grasp of, we don't want that party. We don't.
No,
I
we
mean,
don't.
we're in this society.
In the future, that's where we're going though, because
Mhm.
right now, as we speak, we have in during Black History Month,
Mhm.
we have had a bunch of people go, nah. Oh, and most of them are Black women, but
Mhm.
we're going, nah.
Mhm. Well, and
I don't think
that's the
so.
thing
And
because,
we uninvited ourselves from the party. No,
well,
because we've had invites for the past 20, 30, 50 years now, but now we're
mhm.
going, I don't think I'm gonna attend. I think I'm busy.
Right, and
Mhm.
and so that's the thing of getting back to our identity, because when we go to our true selves, we know that, again, it's not the party for us. It's not the part.
It's
It's not
not the
even
party
where we
for
want to
us.
be. It's
Mm-mm.
not even that it's not for us. Is we don't want to be there. We
We
want,
just don't want to be there.
yeah, we want to have our own party, and that's just all it is to it. Is to have our own party, and when enough of us recognize that, then we will truly have our own party, not taken away from their party at all. Go party, be free,
Be free,
because
be happy.
that's the people we are. It's just that we need to have our own party instead of trying to be inclusive into the party that's been established.
Okay, well, let me ask this question as far as the business and the finances, and you ladies, let me know what you think. When we discuss these things, and none of us lived during the time of Black Wall Street, and I'm
Mhm.
quite sure that in our reading and our education, we've learned
Mhm.
about what Black Wall Street did for our economy and
Mhm.
how it helped boost us a system of
Mhm.
our community
Mhm.
when it looked like it was dying, when it
Mhm.
looked like it was literally falling through.
Mhm.
We and I hate to say it this way, but we're like the residual roaches. We don't
Mhm.
die easy.
Yeah. At all.
We like
At
out of
all. We're
all the
resilient. We will survive the atomic bomb.
we don't die easy.
Mhm.
We're not one to sit back. You might think, oh well, you know what, they're not doing anything,
Mhm.
but we are. We're always doing something that's going to sustain us and keep
Mhm.
us. So
Mhm.
then I ask, and I ask it in a daring way, but I ask, What about the fact that we have become competition amongst each other? That we have literally knocked ourselves in the head because instead of being collaborations, a lot of times today we find that we are now not so much competitors, not so much, my answer to a lot of things that I found people arguing about back and forth about collaborating in the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
I always use the analogy of the top car dealers.
Mm-hmm.
You very rarely see the top car dealers downbeat the other car dealer. It's just
Mm-hmm.
about what I'm doing. This
Mm-hmm.
is what my car is. This is what it represents. I'm in a Ferrari. You
Yeah.
could be in your Cadillac. You could be
Mm-hmm.
in your
Don't say
uh, uh, you could be in your moped if you want.
it.
That's up to you. But I'm not going to compete
Mm-hmm.
with you
Yeah.
and try to downplay you
Mm-hmm.
in order to bring me up
Right.
in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Why in our society is that so prevalent? Why
Mm-hmm.
are we so on
It's
to
residuals. It's residual things, and it has a lot to do with the subconscious mind.
Mhm,
And we were trained to have subconscious biases about each other,
Yes.
and
mhm,
and we were trained to do that. So
Yeah.
we have generations upon generations upon
Mm-hmm.
generations that have not dealt with that
Yes.
part. And
Absolutely.
so it's not so much that I'm in competition with you, because if you ask two people that question that do the exact same thing, they're going to say there is no competition.
Right. Right.
And
mhm,
they're not going to
Mm-hmm.
admit to the fact that
Yeah.
we were pitted against one another
Right.
before. So
mhm,
subconsciously,
Mm-hmm.
you're trained, it's in there.
Yeah.
It's in
mhm,
there. And so you
mhm,
have to, like, so every single day that we get up and we decide to move forward, we have to make a conscious decision and a conscious effort to be kind to one another, because
Right.
we weren't taught to be kind to one another.
Exactly. And
mhm,
and it's more systemic too, because
Sure.
not only are we brought into this society, this community, to say that at every turn they're like, you're unworthy, you're this, you're hated. And then even when we were banded together, they're like, oh no, because y'all are coming together. So when you
mhm,
come together, you're powerful. So they recognize that more so than we do, the power of us being in unison, right? In
mhm.
unity. So then there's this again systematic separation. So you separate.
And again, that
And
that
then,
was that was from the gatekeepers, because if you remember the house
right,
blankety blank
right,
Right.
right,
as
right.
opposed to the
That's what I
field
was
blankety
just
blank,
thinking.
But even
so
For
even though
sure.
even though we needed
yeah,
what was from the field to
yeah,
fix in the house to make
yeah,
sure that everybody ate, we
mm-hmm,
weren't thinking about the fact that the collaboration of the two was a
mm-hmm,
benefit. The
yeah,
collaboration of the two was an advantage. And when it
mm-hmm,
comes to our businesses and finances today,
mm-hmm,
we look at it and we say, you know what, I don't trust that.
yeah,
I don't trust that other business, or I don't trust to put my money in that bank, or I don't
mm-hmm,
trust to go with that competitor, or I
mm-hmm,
don't trust that person.
mm-hmm,
Instead of looking at it and saying, hey, I don't have XYZ, but I know that Gheisha
mm-hmm,
has this
yeah,
and Felice has that. Why not the three of us get together and we can then formulate something that's going to be bigger to help whomever
right,
comes to the table
Sure.
that may
mm-hmm,
need that.
mm-hmm,
In the collaboration, we don't
mm-hmm,
always look at it. And again, it's
mm-hmm,
exactly what you said. If another person brought another candle to that party,
mm-hmm,
now you're trampling on the fact that I might not be invited to the party anymore.
mm-hmm.
I might not be able to get in.
And
My
we're losing
key won't
sight
work.
of yeah. And
My key won't work. Well, moving on,
mhm,
we're going to talk a little bit about the health and the holistic remedies and the things that we moved away from. And just so that the audience knows that a lot of times we're given a lot of things. Please, 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 please be alert to what you're transforming yourself from.
mhm,
Not so much what you're taking in. Be alert to that as well. But if you're already on a medication or if you already have a certain regimen that you're doing, don't be so quick to drop that regimen or to drop that medication without knowing what the effects may be. Because sometimes changing over to another method or another idea of symptoms and everything else, the symptoms that you get are merely because you've depleted your system from what it was used to.
Mhm.
And that's even exercise. If you stop walking today and you've been walking for months,
Mm-hmm.
the aches and pains that you get are not because you changed over to a new exercise. The aches and pains are because the muscles that you were using before, you're no longer using. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be careful of the before, the taking during, and the after. But in our health and holistic remedies, a lot of those holistic remedies, I remember telling a group of trainees that I was training that if they stripped all of the drugs, if they stripped every drug that we had, what would
Mm-hmm.
you take for a headache?
Yeah.
And a lot of people just didn't know simple stuff,
Yeah.
just simple remedies to
Mm-hmm.
a headache,
Yeah.
simple remedies to a cold, simple remedies to a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't necessarily believe that we had the knowledge as a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a knowledge as grandma making up a concoction,
Sure.
but grandma wasn't a doctor.
Right.
We had a lot of things that we say came from the land
Mm-hmm.
that we use, but didn't nobody have a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to say it, and I'm saying it out loud, that you do realize that a D in a classroom is passing.
Mm-hmm.
So
For
when that
sure.
doctor puts that certificate up on the wall,
Right.
you don't know if he was the A student in the
Mm-hmm.
class
Or
Yeah.
or
the
the
D
D
student.
student in the
Yeah.
class. So
Absolutely.
let's understand
Mm-hmm.
that our remedies and everything come from our history.
Yeah. And when you really break it down, if you look at any uh, manufactured medicine, it starts with that same plant. They've just
Mhm,
made a synthetic version of it, or they've taken just the that basis of that plant and they've added chemicals to preserve and
mhm,
do other things. Which again, if you, because there's a myth that the ground doesn't have enough to sustain the whole entire world, which is again a myth and a lie. So I look at a lot of commercials on some medication and even the holistic things that they're talking about now. It's like, oh, there's only a limit supply. It's found in the jungles up in this region, and only in that, there's,
Way, way,
you know,
way on the top of the mountain, around the corner and the curb, and
yes,
it's down
yes,
the cliff,
yes,
but you
yes,
can't get there by yourself. We don't
yes.
know who plucked this.
Right, right.
Probably some monks somewhere. They usually
Right.
blame the monks for plucking things
That's
that are
what
far out of,
that's what they blame. But
or somebody that's in the rainforest. That's
right,
yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
so
And
you
And,
so
can't
and
grow it
granted,
yourself.
and
and
so that's
granted,
why they perpetuated, this manufactured whatever of
hmm
whatever
and not
to.
only that, the thing about it is they all have this premise. I remember trying to learn how to teach drug ID and how to get people even interested in teaching. Listen, you gotta hear this, you gotta
Mhm,
know this, and you gotta
mhm,
understand this. Every white pill ain't an
mhm,
aspirin.
mhm.
Every green colored leaf is not
Mhm.
marijuana.
Yeah.
You got to learn this stuff. And
Mhm,
one of the things that I found so interesting was that we don't even know what an abuser is. we
mhm,
don't we don't even realize that if I'm taking a nasal spray for more
mhm,
than 7 days,
mhm,
if I've been spraying my own nostrils with my
mhm,
own nasal spray that I bought,
mhm,
even though it's a legal
mhm.
drug, I am an
Yeah,
abuser,
yeah.
because the label says
Mhm,
after the fourth day, you're supposed to
mhm.
contact your doctor if
Right.
you are still congested.
Yeah.
So there are
Mhm,
some things that we have to think about as far as health is concerned,
mhm,
to go into and understand that yes, these remedies are good.
mhm,
It's great to take aloe and put it on a burn. It's great to do these things, but you have to understand aloe ain't for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody can't use aloe, and
Yeah, it
everybody
breaks
can't.
me out. I itch every time. I'm like,
You know, yeah, you got to
it's
you got
stuff
to
like
know
that.
that some of these things are not the norm, and
Mm-hmm.
understand if you are going into holistic remedies,
Mm-hmm.
that means you need to know something about your own health.
Ooh, say that. Say
You
that.
have to
Say
know your own health. You have
that.
listen. My holistic person is already on this call.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I call her and ask her what do I need for this? What do I need for that? And she'll tell me
Mm-hmm.
some name that I can't even pronounce,
Yeah.
or some name that I've never heard of. And then
Mm-hmm.
she'll also tell me, but you don't want to do it this way, or
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to do it. But
Yeah.
that comes from the fact that she grows plants.
Right.
She's a grower. She grows
Mm-hmm.
herbs. She grows plants. She
Mm-hmm.
tries to get me into it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
the thing about
We
it
going
is,
there this
we're
year.
going
This
there. I hear
summer,
it. Yes.
this
Yes.
summer,
Yeah,
baby
Geisha.
steps
I'm on your
already
side. We're going
have.
there.
yeah, we
Listen,
have to,
Mm-hmm.
but we
I
have,
already bought her elephant ears. She don't
yeah,
even, this is not.
yeah,
Listen,
we have to. But the thing
Yeah.
she's coming.
about it
She's
is,
Mm-hmm.
I
kicking and
really,
screaming, but
this
she's
has
coming.
come really close to me, as you guys know. The the last Yeah, the last 6 years of my life, I've been
Mm-hmm.
going up and down throughout all of these medicines. Some I can pronounce, some I can't pronounce.
Yeah.
Some
Right.
lay me out flat, and some I have
Mm-hmm.
to ask, do I need this? But if we're sincerely trying to maintain our who we are,
Mm-hmm.
who I am,
Mm-hmm.
who God has said, hey, it's not your turn yet, but I
Mm-hmm.
need you to take this little turn because I
Mm-hmm.
need you to express this to people.
Yeah.
If I couldn't express anything further, it is stop going to these clinics.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a condition,
Mm-hmm.
go and get you a doctor that you can
Mm-hmm.
have a rapport with.
Mm-hmm.
Get
Sure.
someone that will look at your records and keep you up to date on your tests,
Yeah.
tell you what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how scared I was, during the COVID era,
Mm-hmm.
when I was already diagnosed with cancer. Well, how do I go and take care of this cancer
Mm-hmm.
if people is dying from COVID? How do I go around this? How do I handle this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it had not been for establishing a serious relationship, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't mean that, hi, Miss Buchanan, how you doing? It was, hi, Nanette, how you
Mm-hmm.
feeling?
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, how's she
Yeah.
been?
Mm-hmm.
We had to get further than just the normal doctor relationship, because I got to trust you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If you
Right.
don't have trust in your medical care person,
Mm-hmm.
please, by all means, get someone that you can trust.
Well, then, Lynette, tell us what that looks like, because again, most people don't want to talk to anyone with a white coat. Because first of all, I don't want to acknowledge that I have some sort of illness because I'm invincible, and this illness falls away. And then you trust again because they have that coat on and they have that certificate on the wall that says that they've been through this training. Again, we don't know whether they are A students or D students. We don't know that, right?
Hmm.
And how do you find that out? So
Well,
how do you trust someone?
Well, I've been the gambit of the trust route, because
Mm-hmm.
the first thing that family and other people have told me is that, well, they did the same thing with the syphilis shot. They did
Mm-hmm.
the same thing with the Tuskegee Airmen,
Mm-hmm.
and they put
Mm-hmm.
all kind of chemicals. They did the same thing with Agent Orange, and they did the same thing with this. How do you know that the chemo is going to be this, or the
Right.
chemo is going to be?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I say that if it's the same way that I trust friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm.
I have people that I associate with,
Right. Sure.
but to call someone a friend or a
Mm-hmm.
partner in crime,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be on a whole different level with me,
Exactly. Exactly.
because I put you on a whole different level.
Mm-hmm.
So going to this doctor, and this doctor
Mm-hmm.
saying to me, you have stage 4 cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and me hearing the rumors,
Mm-hmm.
me reading up on it,
Mm-hmm.
me being in tears and scared to death,
Yeah.
stage 4, I'm about to die.
Yeah.
I took all of that to this person. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't go to the doctor. I went
Mm-hmm.
to the person.
Uh-huh.
I didn't go to the man in the white coat.
Yeah.
I went to the person that
Mhm.
had studied deeply,
Mhm.
that even if he failed, he did know some of the words that I didn't know.
Sure.
So my first question to him was stage 4 cancer. Wow. How long do I have to live?
Mhm.
This threw this person for a loop
Mhm.
because obviously people don't ask that.
Mm.
How long do I have to live?
Yeah.
And I
Mm.
didn't ask it hysterically. I
Mhm.
didn't ask it, with tears in my eyes. I
Sure.
asked him point blank.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to get things together in my life and in my
Mhm.
family's life. So how long do I have?
Mhm.
And that's when he broke down.
Mhm.
Stage 4 cancer does not mean you're going to die.
Right. Mhm.
It means we have to go about the cure,
Mhm.
the what we're going to do as far as how long are we going to do this, how long are we going to do that. We have to monitor you a lot closer
Mhm.
than everyone else because this cancer has capabilities
Mhm.
that other cancers don't.
Right. Right.
And not every cancer in this area does.
Mhm. Right.
Not, it doesn't mean that every breast cancer is not the same cancer.
Mhm.
Every colon cancer is not the same.
Right.
So you can't come to me and say that you got stage 4 and yours be the same as mine.
Yeah.
Again, you can't go to a clinic because
Mhm.
every doctor you see is putting in a different report.
Mhm.
You have to go to one doctor so that
Mhm.
they can track what's going on.
Right. Right.
And then I took the coat off a little bit more because I said to him, "Well, if I was your cousin eating dinner at your dinner table,"
Mhm.
I said, "what could be done about this?
Mhm.
What would you tell me is the best thing to be done?
Yeah.
Don't tell me as a patient.
Yeah. Right.
Tell
Yeah.
me as somebody that you would lose and that you
Mhm.
care deeply about. What would
Mhm.
you tell them to do?" So
Mhm.
these conversations led up to what we now do when we see each other is, "Hey," and
Mhm.
he gets a hug, I get a hug, and
Yeah.
"How you feeling?" It's
Mhm.
no longer, yes, he's doctor so and so,
Mhm.
but it's no longer on the level of me being fearful
Yeah.
of asking questions. And I believe that a lot of the people that go in,
Mhm.
they're fearful. During
Yeah.
COVID, they were fearful.
Absolutely.
This
Well,
is something we don't know about. We don't know, but you gotta, you
mhm.
gotta, you gotta,
Right.
regardless to adding grandma's remedies,
Mm.
bless you,
Mhm.
Bless
Thank
you.
you.
regardless to adding grandma's remedies or anybody
Mhm.
else's remedies, you gotta be willing to have these conversations and
Yeah.
have these conversations with those you trust. Now,
Yeah.
did I have doctors along the way that I said I'm not going back to them?
Sure.
Sure I did.
Yeah.
Sure I did.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I and I
That was what
told,
I was gonna say.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
sure I did. And I told the regular doctor, the oncologist,
Mhm. Mhm.
"Hey, what's going on with this doctor? I don't particularly care for them." And he immediately said, "If you're not comfortable, you won't heal."
Yeah.
When
Oh
you
wow.
spoke
Right.
about when you spoke about the white coat, the thing that I love
Mhm.
about the doctor and the surgeon that I've been dealing with, um, they explained to me about that white coat.
Mhm.
They said the white coat was made years ago, and they're from the islands and
Mhm.
not Africa or anything like that.
Mhm.
They're Pakistanians,
Mm.
and their thing was that the white coats are supposed to be something that gives you a subliminal message.
Yes.
It's supposed to be spiritual.
Mm.
That's why the room is the big light and all of
Yes.
this other stuff.
Yeah.
You go into surgery, they want you to be
Mhm.
comfortable, so they wear white.
Mm.
It's more comfortable for the person who's thinking
Mhm.
spiritually. Because most of the time, what are you doing? You're
Mm.
praying.
Yeah.
You want to make
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
And he said that has to come off.
Mhm.
At some point, I have to show you where my heart is. And my
Yeah.
heart is not just in getting the fee that you're going to pay. My
Mhm.
heart is in the fact that I want you to heal. And
Yes.
healing sometimes has to come from within, as
Mhm.
well as me moving the knife or me moving the treatment or me, redoing what I need to redo.
Uh-huh.
It has to come back in. So if
Yeah.
it's coming back in, if it doesn't come
Mhm.
back in that way, I
Mhm.
have to understand how.
Mhm. Right.
How do I connect with you? Now,
Right.
you might not be a spiritual person. You may
Mhm.
very well not be that type of
Mhm.
person at all.
Yeah.
But I still need to make sure that my connection with you is a quiet connection, a calming
Mm-hmm.
connection, and
Right.
that's the reason for the white coats.
Oh, awesome. Because there's also, you see that white coat and there is a mistrust
Mm-hmm.
automatically, so there's two sides of you see it and it's like, oh, yeah, oh, I trust you because, oh, you went to,
And if I could touch everyone that's in that community, and you guys well know that I'm looking at doing more in that community.
mm-hmm,
But if I could touch people in that community, because the first thing that someone told me to do, which was a nurse, I believe, I don't even remember,
mm-hmm,
but the first thing they told me to do they thought would be helpful.
mm,
Okay, and mind you, they don't have cancer, so they
mm-hmm,
don't know because they
yeah,
haven't done it. But they
sure,
said, go get in a group.
yeah, mm-hmm,
Go sign into a group,
mm-hmm,
and in
mm-hmm,
signing into the group, there's more people in the group complaining about what their health care is not doing for them
yeah, yeah,
than actually,
yeah,
bonding together to
yeah,
see how can I help you get through this.
yeah,
You
So
know,
here's the church part of it. Faith.
yeah,
Faith says you have to watch your ear gates and your eye gates,
yeah,
right?
mm-hmm,
mm-hmm,
So if I join this group over here,
mm-hmm,
and in my group is 20 people going, woe is me, this
yeah,
sucks, oh my God,
exactly,
this fell off, that
mm-hmm,
fell off,
yeah,
and you don't have any joy come
and
out
it
of it.
changes your
sure,
spirit, and it
It
sure,
changes
changes
your
it
spirit.
changes your spirit. It kind of
mm-hmm,
lowers you down to where they are.
yeah,
And for me, I just want to be on the edge of conflict. I don't want to be in it.
yes,
I got
mm-hmm,
to be on the edge. So
yes,
and it's my decision whether or not I
mm-hmm,
want to help or not.
yes,
And
So
in our history, the thing about it is you always had, someone that was
mm-hmm,
able to heal the wound, even healing the womb for Master's house.
yeah,
They were always able to be that calming person, that
mm-hmm,
person, like Gheisha is saying, the group leader that would lead in Bible study, the group
mm-hmm,
leader that would lead the prayer, the group
mm-hmm,
leader that would give that spiritual healing.
mm-hmm,
My doctors have said it time and time again.
mm-hmm,
A part of your healing, the difference that differs from other people that we've dealt with,
mm-hmm,
is the fact that you came in with a strong spirit.
mm-hmm,
sure.
You came in with a spirit that said, if it's the will of God,
mm-hmm,
I'm willing to ride this as long as God wants me to ride it,
yeah,
for
mm,
whatever the reason is.
sure,
So my will was, I didn't retire to cancer.
yeah,
I didn't retire to this, but it
mm-hmm,
was in the midst of COVID.
mm-hmm,
So now I'm looking at it going, well, what the heck is that?
mm-hmm,
And how did that come to play? And Gheisha and I, and I'm going to say it, and I don't know if she's going to be upset with me, but the institutions that we worked in,
mm-hmm,
we didn't have to worry about a flu.
mm-hmm,
No.
We didn't have to worry about the measles. We didn't have
mm-hmm,
to worry about outbreaks.
yeah,
So now we retire,
mm-hmm,
and I got to worry about whether or not a pandemic is going to take me out.
And it
yeah,
was some god awful stuff in there. There was people with stuff that you have never seen before
mm,
that would
and,
give
and
you
and you don't catch
nightmares.
anything, but
But
now
we
you're
we
in
didn't get sick
society.
there.
mm-hmm,
We did not get sick there. We did not get sick in our bubble,
yeah, yeah,
which happened to not really be a bubble
mm,
It
because from
happened,
day to
yeah.
day you were in close proximity to thousands of people.
mm-hmm,
But for whatever reason, it's like the kid that eat the pennies off the ground.
mm-hmm,
None of us were sick.
No, we didn't get sick. We didn't get
But
sick.
as soon as we
By the
get
grace of
out of
God.
there,
yeah,
Right. Now I gotta fight
now
this.
mm,
we get, now I never had an issue with my blood pressure being high.
mm-hmm,
And I'm high strung in less, like I'm high strung when there's not a lot going on.
yeah,
When it's a lot going on, I'm the exact opposite. So I'm
yes,
I'm, I'm
mm-hmm,
very calm.
yes, mm-hmm,
If nothing's going on, I'm waiting for the other shoe to
Yeah,
right,
drop.
wondering why.
So
mm-hmm,
I'm
Hmm.
constantly, like that.
mm-hmm,
I did not discover any of this
mm-hmm,
to after 50. And then
mm-hmm,
I said, "Who? Me? You sure? And I had self-diagnosed a lot. And me and my good doctor, I used to just go see her like so much, and she'd be like, "Oh boy, so what you think you got?"
Right, right. What you got now, right?
And I would tell her what I think I got.
Yeah.
And she would constantly tell me, "No, ma'am, and please stay off of WebMD." But I used to just go see her so much that we discussed her retirement. Okay. Yeah, when I retired and I was just going over there, she like, "What you want today?" Okay. What do you want? There's nothing wrong with you. Go home.
Well,
Okay.
not only that, the thing about it is we have to realize that these
Mhm.
holistic remedies and these self-diagnoses and looking at WebMD and all of these
Mhm.
other things were not things in our history. It was
Mhm.
not in our yesterday. In our
Mhm.
yesterday
Right.
was natural things,
Mhm.
putting the onion on the foot to
Mhm.
to get rid
Oh
of
my
the
gosh.
fever,
Yeah.
Mhm.
putting the ice packs around your neck.
Mhm.
There were certain things that we knew from, like the doses of castor oil. I can't tell you
Castor
how
oil.
much castor
Yep.
oil I took every day because my grandmother was a stickler during flu
Mhm.
season. You didn't
Mhm.
take a flu shot. You
Yeah.
went and you took castor oil. You took
Mhm.
these things. You had those remedies were embedded in us
Yeah.
year
And mine will
after
be here
year after
tomorrow.
year.
So
Exactly.
right.
You would take different medicines, and
Mhm.
now it's always the pill, the
Right, because
pill,
they've
the pill.
convinced us that, oh no, that they whoever gave you that remedy that kept you alive.
Right,
Oh, that
right.
that is hocus pocus, and I have come with, again,
Yes, I'm the
the savior thing, right?
yeah,
But never, never, ever, never do you look at a castor oil bottle and say, if you take this, you stand the risk of growing the extra toe, the
exactly.
kidneys failing, your eyesight going, your heart is gonna stop beating. None of that.
And in that, I just want to ask you guys this. What
Mhm.
do you think about the fact that yesterday we didn't have, and I mean, looking at our history, I don't even remember who the Surgeon General was. He was on the back of the cartons and different things like that.
Mhm.
But to know that we had a black Surgeon General,
Mhm.
we actually, in our history, he served under the order of the president, but we had a black surgeon general.
Mhm.
We had someone that could understand the sides
Mhm.
of the health. They
Mhm.
could understand a little bit more because I've always thought that the health and stuff that they do, a lot of that stuff, some of those
Mhm.
things, I don't even know what they are. Some of those
Mhm.
things that they say, you could get this, and I'm like, well, what is that?
Yeah.
I've
Right.
never heard of some of those, some
Yeah.
of the diseases that they brought
Mhm.
up, some of
Yeah.
the things that they brought, and they don't separate you according to your bloodline,
Right.
according to your, according
Mhm.
to your ethnicity,
Yeah.
according to, your connection to your. They ask you your family, and here we go back to the first thing that we talked
Yeah.
about, which was
Yeah.
family dynamics. And the
Uh-huh.
very first thing they ask you is, what is your family history?
Yes.
If we don't connect,
Mhm.
how do we know
Yeah.
what our family history was? And
Yeah.
mama ain't telling you. Mama,
Mhm.
Well, here's a fun fact. I have my if you give me a shot today,
Mhm.
right? And you draw my blood in 6 months, it won't be there.
Wow.
yeah, it wouldn't
I've
be the
never
same.
had any of my childhood diseases.
Mm.
And I have a sister we're 14 months apart. So, and we shared a room. So I was in the room with her, but I carry none of those traits.
Wow.
Right.
I have two children that
Mhm.
are the exact same way. So
Wow.
what winds up happening to Brittany, the nurse, is that if she switches locations or switches jobs,
Mhm.
and she goes, "Here is my shot record," and they draw her blood, it's not
It's
there.
not going to be the
Mm.
same. It's not going to be the
Wow.
same.
It won't show any of it.
Uh-huh.
It won't show any of it. And
Wow.
then she has to, and the only way out of it is for her, for me to write a letter and say, yes, that's what happened. And
Mhm.
oddly enough, we had a measles or chicken pox outbreak at the
Mhm.
prison. Remember in Bravo?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was where I worked. And so I
Mhm.
said, ooh, 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 hello, I can't go in there because I'm
Mhm.
old now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and they did not believe me. And
Mhm.
then they had to look in my records and they go, well, how did you manage this? How
Mhm.
does this work? And I don't,
Mm. Right.
I don't know.
And it depends. And the thing about it is, I'm so infuriated. I have a cousin right now that has been diagnosed with a problem, and their thing is that they don't believe in doctors.
Mhm.
Right,
Well,
right.
if you don't believe in doctors, and you what holistic remedy are you using?
They
Mhm.
don't believe in
And
that
and,
either.
and the first thing
Right.
that they said was,
Mhm.
"Oh no, not roots and grass and leaves and stuff." And I had
Don't
to
believe in that.
explain to them, you have to do something.
Mm.
So either you're gonna believe in what everybody said, the witch doctor,
Mm.
or you're gonna go to the regular doctor, but you can't allow your body to just react, because obviously your body is crying out to you. And I think
Mhm.
that's the message that we have to let people know, regardless if you're going to a black physician or you're going to, traditional physicians, white medicine, as people say
Mhm.
it, or whatever you want to call it. Please, please, please do not sleep on these things. The COVID
Mhm.
era, if it didn't teach us anything else, it equalized everyone.
Mhm.
For sure.
Yeah.
Everyone can get this, from
Yeah.
old to young,
Yeah.
from, no
Mhm.
matter what your race is, no matter what it is, you can get this.
Yeah.
So we have to realize that even though there's other things that come up, we have to take part in that. And it's a part of our history,
Mhm.
because of the simple fact that we may have a way of avoiding certain things or
Mhm.
not being attracted to certain things, but
Mhm.
we have to know the history. You have to know the dynamics of who you
Mhm.
are.
Yeah.
Our,
Sure.
our last topic is the one that's really intense, and I'm gonna keep in mind, ladies, we
Yeah,
won't
we already over. I was
we
thinking
want to
about.
keep it in mind,
It's
ladies.
a really good conversation,
Keep
though.
Yeah,
it
no,
in mind, ladies.
absolutely. But you
But
know,
transitioning the identity of the woman's role, we'll put
hmm
it that way. We're
mm,
not talking about, for the audience sake, we are not talking about how you identify what your what your
gender,
Pronouns.
gender,
pronoun
or pronoun.
is, or what you
Yeah.
feel, or we're not talking about that at
hmm
all. We're
hmm
talking about the title of woman,
hmm
or the role of women, and how we've evolved from being the woman that stayed home
hmm
and took care of home, regardless if it was in slavery times
hmm
or if it was in times where we had to transition to making garments and doing things at home.
hmm
What do you think the main purpose sent
hmm
down from our Savior
uh-huh.
when he said, I'm giving you an help aid?
hmm
A helpmate.
Help meet. They help meet. Mm-hmm.
What was meant
Mm-hmm.
and what has changed?
You sure you want to go first, or I'm going?
All right. I'll go first.
hmm
So I like to describe it as shoes because I like shoes, right?
hmm
First of all, every shoe is not for everybody.
Yeah.
When he said that he was giving them a helpmate,
hmm
it
Mm-hmm.
also says, he who finds a wife finds a what? A good thing. So I'm his good thing. Hello, somebody.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, okay.
Yes,
I'm
and
his
yes,
good
you
thing.
are. Yes, you are.
Women are, and I say this all the time. Men are very, if we look at a piece of wood, right?
hmm
They're straight, right?
hmm
Rigid. They're
hmm
rigid, straight,
hmm
hard to the core. When
hmm
you add a woman, that is when the wood has curves,
Yeah.
right? It
hmm
becomes softer.
Yeah.
It because there's the yin and the yang.
hmm
Someone has to be opposite of.
Right.
He didn't put us here for us
Mhm.
to compete with.
Mhm.
He put us here to be opposite of
Mhm.
and to assist
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mhm.
movement.
Yeah.
So if his left leg is weak and my right leg is strong, we can pull.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if we got two people that are both weak on their left side, we
Mhm.
just gonna go in a circle. We're never
Mhm.
gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think our purpose for tomorrow is unlearning.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe becoming is not trying to build up.
Mhm.
Maybe becoming is taking away
Mhm.
all the things that we've been indoctrinated into.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because our sole purpose was
Mhm.
never to meet them toe to toe. We don't have to do that. That's not my job.
Sure. Mhm.
My job is to assist you in your job.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
need be strong enough
Mhm.
and learn, right?
Mhm.
But again, every shoe ain't for everybody. He
Yeah.
has to be a leader. Now, I don't
Yeah.
want a basketball shoe if
Yeah.
I'm over here in high heel shoes. Now, if
Yeah.
I'm wearing high heel shoes, then he need a loafer, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm just
I can.
saying
Mhm.
that maybe the idea for of our purpose, we're not going to find our purpose by packing on top of things.
Mhm.
Sometimes you
You
have to
gotta
just
unpack
Yeah.
and
and you
repack.
have to unpack first
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
to see if you got some stuff in there that you don't need.
Mhm.
Because if
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to the beach, I don't need a fur.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
Right.
I think that uh, it's about our purpose is about unbecoming
Mhm.
or taking it down.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have to take it down to the studs.
Mhm.
And when you take it down to the studs, you discover that there underneath this carpet is a mahogany floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
But
you
everybody was
just
wearing
need to
shag
be.
carpets a minute ago.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
But maybe just maybe your purpose is
Mhm.
to be the mahogany floor,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
not to
like
be
it.
the shag
And would
carpet.
you say, just banking on what you're saying, then Felice, I'm going to
Mhm.
let you say your opinion about it. But would you say that in essence, that is what the woman of yesterday
Mhm.
was mentally and physically capable to do,
Mhm.
wherever she had to fit in,
Mhm.
whatever shoe she had to put on,
Mhm.
whatever way she had to unpack whatever it was,
Right.
she was willing to do it
Mhm.
because of the simple fact that she
Mhm.
knew that this was going to assist the man
Mhm.
in what he needed to do. And at that point during slavery, a
Mhm.
lot of times it was to assist the man in just staying alive,
Mhm.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
because he was battling man to man. He
Mhm.
was going man to man, like, you're not going to talk to me a certain way. You're
Right.
not going to treat me a certain way. And the woman had to come in and soften that.
Mhm.
Like you
Sure,
said, she had to
for
come
sure.
in and soften that
Mhm.
sternness and everything
Mhm.
else. Just let it go,
Mhm.
because we're trying to get from A to C and
Mhm.
you're stuck on B.
Right.
We
I,
can't
I
keep
think
being stuck.
I
Mhm.
think that our elders or the women of the past
Mhm.
um, were amazing pivoters. Like
Yeah.
they could pivot. They
Yes.
could pivot without batting an eye. I think they were
Mhm.
awesome
Yeah.
at being able to adapt
Yeah.
and move on,
Yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
adapt. And I think they were also amazing at knowing. And I know a lot of women will say, "Oh, boo, boo, we ain't doing that no more." But
Mm.
there are people that I like even yesterday where you said some women don't think they need men. That's girls.
Right.
Because I need mine.
Right.
Okay. I need mine. I
Yeah.
got stuff
Mhm.
called a honey-do list.
I
Okay. I need mine.
Mm-hmm.
know
So
that's right.
so
Mhm.
I mean I think that it's about that those women,
Mhm.
right, had
Mhm.
something that we don't always have, which is
Mhm.
humility.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see the broader picture,
Mhm.
which
Mm-hmm.
is the group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I think that we've become generationally more selfish and
Yeah.
self-centered.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we have not thought about the bigger picture,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
right? I
Mhm.
think
Felice,
I think
what's your take on it?
Whew, okay, so going back to our creation story, when God formed Adam and put him on here, and then he said that you should not be alone. Adam, you need a helpmate. Helpmate, however you say it. And so he caused Adam to fall asleep, and he took a rib from him and fashioned a woman. So, of course, as Adam, the Bible tells us, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh.
come on.
However, God fashioned us out of a love for connection.
Hmm.
Mm.
Adam didn't have that. He
Hmm.
had functionality of his brain. So, Adam, man, functions from their brain,
Hmm.
and women function from their heart,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, so in this world you can't, you can, but let me just say, you can't survive just on your heart alone,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Sure.
And men, by their their focus, their purpose is to be the thinkers, the figure outers, the providers, right? However, women have that. We have the ability to figure everything out. We have the ability to fashion things, but that is not our purpose. Our purpose is to love and to procreate. God gave us that. He didn't give that part to Adam. He gave it to us. That Adam was to give us something, his seed. We would take his seed, we would nurture it, we would mature it, we would birth it, right? So, in and of itself, we have to love because we carry the next person into the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We carry that. The man does not do that. The man does not carry anything into the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this present day, we have truly lost our identity because we're not living in our purpose. We have taken on these roles, and it's a struggle because we were not designed for them, right?
Now,
So it's
do you think in taking on those roles, like you said, we've taken on the role
hmm
of something that was not created to be. We've
hmm
taken on that role. Do
yeah.
you think in us taking on that role, we took on that role thinking that we could exist?
No, and because we took on the role because we have love in our hearts. So we start with there. So wherever we see that there's something lacking, just as Gheisha has said, if his left leg doesn't work, what are we there for? Hopefully having a strong left leg to then fill in for it, not to take over, but to fill in, to
But
to
but
to
now
really.
today's
Mhm,
woman
mhm,
in that just what you just said,
right.
the
Mhm,
takeover,
yeah.
like Geisha mentioned, today's women seem to think that because I have the ability to fill in,
Mhm,
because I have the knowledge
mhm,
to input and influence and move you along,
mhm.
why do I need you?
Right. And that's the problem with that, is
Mm-hmm.
because the other role has been abandoned or has been severed, has been taken away, we stand lost. We have the love, we can't get rid of the love. We I don't care what anybody says, even if you are a purely logical woman person, you battle with leading with your heart. You battle that if you're trying to take on the man's role, and I'm using air quotes because it's really not that. It's still inauthentic to your purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Inauthentic to your purpose. And you said something earlier, Nanette, about the women staying at home and even in slavery times, no, they were working. They were working right beside their husband, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
yes, we have, evolved into this artificial society to where, yes, a woman can say, oh yeah, I want to be artificially inseminated to have a baby because I ain't found that man that I want. But in the heart of who we are,
At the very core, at
at
our
the
core,
very
we
core,
all desire the same thing
yes,
because that's how we were made.
that is
Exactly.
correct. That is
So
correct.
that's where my question. That's where my
Hmm.
question is. I'm trying to not say it so that it looks like I'm saying it. I'd rather you
Hmm.
guys say it. But
Hmm.
the thing about it is that I'm looking at the fact that
Hmm.
today's woman
Hmm.
in the transitioning,
Hmm.
we have come to the point of it looks so much better on me
Hmm.
to say I have my own. It looks
But
so much better on me
But
to
does it? But
say
does it really?
it
But
does.
does it really?
no,
Thank
That
you.
no.
depends on who's looking.
That's what,
And I know this is
trying to please
unpopular
you.
opinion.
Because,
It's
and again, it's false. It is so false. It's artificial
Mm-hmm.
for even the person to stand up and say, yes, I got. And I love our progressive women. I love the strength of us. I know that, we, as I say, we can hold it down. But there is so much strife and turmoil in grief with that. There's so much grief with that.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Mm-hmm.
so much grief because, and
let
even when
me
we were having our conversation of, and y'all trust me that this is not just the thing, and I hate to even disclaim that, but if we talked about this, if you as a woman, um, had all your credentials, your degrees, or whatever, and you were offered a job for, $500 million, or if you had a responsible man, Adam to your Eve, that really was fashioned and purpose for his role, and you were fashioned and purpose for your role. If he had that same $500,000, whatever it is, which would you choose?
I would choose him. I told
That's
you that
right.
yesterday. I'm
That's
not
right.
doing it. I
That,
don't wanna. Okay, I want to do it.
that
And
is
I
right.
have
And
I
you
have
use that
already
purpose for
proven
that. Yes,
that I can.
yes,
Okay, so
yes,
I'm not in
yes,
competition
yes,
to prove that I can go out and make a buck because I already know that I can.
yes,
I've had businesses, but
yes.
I prefer
Hmm.
if he wants to do a business, I
Hmm.
got his back.
Yeah, yeah, and even and again, we're using this in the broad sense, but it will narrow down to certain individuals like you and I. Gheisha. I'm like I tell you, yes, I am capable of working, but again, in that, because my heart, I lead with my heart. I find that I am more grieved because, with dealing with people, you are wired to have grace and compassion. You're wired for that. Now we rail against it because now we are in this space that we really, really, well, we always have had to deal with, and idiots, right? People that just trample on that because
Right.
we're all out of alignment, and that's really what it is. It is
That's the issue.
and out of alignment,
and
not
that's and
only the
that's and
women's
that's the
side, but
part
in
that
the
and
men's
that's the
side
part
too.
that I wanted to
Yeah,
express more was
yeah.
the fact that in being in aligned with our history
Mm-hmm,
and being in line with our yesterday, our today, and our tomorrow,
mm-hmm,
if we're already giving this impression
mm-hmm,
that with everything that we've discussed this evening,
mm-hmm,
and then in closing with this, if
mm-hmm,
we're giving the younger women the impression that this is what they have to
mm-hmm,
form themselves into
mm-hmm,
or evolve into,
mm-hmm,
the woman that carries, the woman
mm-hmm,
that makes, the woman
mm-hmm,
that does, the woman that can, the
yeah,
woman that will not stand down to the
mm-hmm,
man who
mm-hmm,
may be a little less than.
mm-hmm,
What are we doing about tomorrow?
yeah,
If that's what we're leading up to. I said to someone earlier today that there's just certain things I won't do. There's
Mhm.
just certain things that I won't stand for in a relationship,
Right.
whether it be a relationship that's business
Mhm.
or whether it be a relationship where love is concerned. Because, like you said, my heart is
Mhm.
of value to me. I can't go
Mhm.
home and think about how bad the boss talked about me
Mhm.
or how he wanted to get under my skirt just because I
Mhm.
looked good today.
Right.
I can't beat that down in my heart.
Mhm.
You're not going to use me for the woman persona
Right.
and not the intellect that I have.
Right.
You're
Mm.
not
Sure.
going to you're not going to use me for what your advantage may be.
Mhm.
So if I just taking that scenario alone, why would I not want to do that? I wouldn't want my granddaughters thinking that that's the way you get ahead.
Right.
I wouldn't want my granddaughters thinking that that's the thing that you should be
Mhm.
doing. But by the same token, I wouldn't want my granddaughters to think any less of their father or any less of their grandfather as
Mhm.
men
Mhm.
if for some reason
Mhm.
they were not making the same dollar amount as me,
Mhm.
or if for some reason they were not at a top-notch job
Mhm.
because they were educated as laborers where
Mhm.
they drove trucks or they
Yeah.
did something else. Just because you're driving a truck doesn't make you any less educated than the man that puts his
Mhm.
suit on every day.
Right.
Those things are things that history has taught us through the gatekeepers
Mhm.
and through the way we've evolved
Mhm.
that there's a value
Mhm.
that we put on people that is not a natural value.
Yeah.
That's why I started with the Adam and Eve. That was a
Mhm.
natural, spiritual, everybody grows up from that point. We all know the Adam and Eve story. But
Mhm.
the thing about it is, do we attach our children to that type of history?
Mhm.
Because in
But you know,
history,
Nan, I think it has to do with location though,
Mhm.
because now I'm in North Carolina.
Mhm.
When I was in New Jersey, everybody asked me, "What is it that you do?"
Mhm.
mm-hmm,
When I came down here, they
Mhm.
no longer ask me that. They ask me where my people are from.
Mhm.
mm-hmm,
And so
mm-hmm,
it's a different,
Mhm.
a altogether different mindset. And
Mhm.
because my grandmother was from the South, she used to say,
Mhm.
it does not matter if your job is to walk in the parade behind the elephant sweeping up, you know what.
Mhm.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You are to do that with dignity
Yeah.
and pride.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
So she
But
didn't
and
say
that's
we
and that's
had to
exactly what
be
I
all of
mean.
those
Is
other
that
things.
what we're passing on,
Mhm.
or are we giving them this ideology
Mhm.
from the TikTok era
Mhm.
and the prestigious era, the
Mhm.
Hollywood
The
image,
Right.
highlight reels,
Yeah.
child,
Yeah.
because
you
they
know,
Yeah.
scissor reels.
Well, here's the
are
That's
we
what
thing.
they
giving
are.
them are we
So
giving them what they need?
here's the thing. If you are giving them what they need, you still have to balance it with all the messaging that is coming after them. Okay.
Mhm,
Sure.
So
mhm,
because again, that the messaging, the advertisement, the misleading is way louder than your quiet presence. And so
mm,
you have to
mhm,
make sure that even though you're establishing the quiet presence and the way to go, that you understand that because beforehand there wasn't any of that. It was your quiet presence, and there wasn't as much interference into that. You
Hmm.
and
know?
with
But
that,
so
with
now, when as we talked about yesterday, when you can just go to the internet and find out all of the information that
mhm,
you possibly can do, but with no context to the information that you're given, you know.
right.
And so with the limited understanding of not having context, but then taking on your own understanding. Because when we were children and we see something, and I'm so guilty of this. I'm like, when I get an adult, I ain't doing this, and I'm like this, and this. Had no clue what it took in order to,
Get
make
that done.
do whatever
Right,
or
right,
whatever the situation was. You
right.
don't know. You don't know that. So
Yeah,
there's
you weren't given the directions, so you
But
didn't
there's
know
but
that
there's a
you need
lot
to
of
go.
that today though,
yes,
because like I said, people are watching the highlight reels.
yes.
So if you watch my highlight reels, you think
Mhm.
I go somewhere all the time. What
Exactly.
you know about me is that I like plants, and
Mhm.
I just be places. That's what they think they know. That,
Mhm.
and I like I like records,
Yeah.
right? I like music. But I don't play my record player every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not always at the store buying
Mhm.
plants
Yeah.
and then dressed up going out somewhere where
all
you
the
know
time.
the
Well,
table
and
is
then you
set.
can again but now you can pick and choose what you share, right? So if you
And
only are
that's what
sharing the
right.
highlight
And I'm
reel,
only sharing the highlight
right,
reels. And
right,
that's
right,
what most
because
people are doing.
yes, that's right. It's that system of the
And see,
highlight
that's what I'm
reel.
saying. I think that the image that we allow our youth, and we're, coming wrapping things up
Mhm.
and trying to bring it all to the forefront. The
Mhm.
seed that was planted in our past,
Mhm.
Mm,
sometimes we didn't cultivate the land that it was planted in.
Mhm. Not
sure.
Sometimes we planted that seed
mhm.
wherever we needed to drop it.
Mhm.
We dropped wisdom, we dropped, innovation, we dropped how, the struggle,
Mhm.
we dropped, what do we do when we
Mhm.
can't get an aspirin for a headache?
Mhm.
We dropped all of the little things in our past.
Mhm.
All of that was our history, and
Yeah.
we've been celebrating that for this month,
Mhm.
saying that this invention and this person did this and this person went beyond this and this
Mhm.
person went beyond that. When there's a seed there,
Mhm.
there's a seed, and that seed grows every year as the
Mhm.
roots get bigger and the
Yeah.
roots grow into what we need to blossom, what do we
Mhm.
need to show. And just like a regular plant, or just like a tree or a
Mhm.
flower or whatever, every year the flower drops off.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's the root that stays.
Mhm.
It's the root and the growth that's up under the ground that no one sees.
Mhm.
No one sees the strength of the Black man.
Yeah.
No one sees the strength of the Black woman.
Mhm.
No one sees the ability that's behind the Black family.
Mhm.
No one sees that stuff because it doesn't blossom
Mhm.
until the next season.
Mhm.
And the next season for us is our tomorrows.
Mhm.
Be it next month, be it next week, be it whenever. When another person comes up with hey, they came up, look what they did. That's another blossom.
Mhm.
And we've been celebrating the blossoms every February.
Yeah.
We've been celebrating what blossomed over the last year. But
Mhm.
we've got to get into celebrating the blossoms as they come.
Mhm.
Because when they die out and the name is no longer, wow, Felice Reeves did this.
Mhm.
When it's no longer that, we have to always remember that the roots that she put in there is for the next person
Mhm.
to blossom.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
We have to keep that going because it
Mhm.
blossoms into our next tomorrow.
Right.
And a lot
Absolutely.
of times we don't realize how bad we need to plant those seeds
Mhm.
and how deep we need to plant those seeds.
Yeah.
So, yes, you do need grandma's voice
Mhm.
because she's giving you a deeper seed than
Mhm.
mama's voice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She's giving you a deeper root
Mhm.
that has grown a little bit longer,
Mhm.
something a little bit stronger. And we forget all of that.
Yeah.
And when we tell our kids, well, just don't read that.
Mhm.
No, you need to read it. Go get a book.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to read. You need to know how to go to the library.
Mhm.
You need to know that when the computer is shut down, that you can still do whatever
Mhm.
is necessary to do.
With that thought, I think that, like I said, on it, maybe tomorrow is about unbecoming what we are today,
Mhm.
right? Because for the future, we must be prepared that in the event we cannot just Google it, we need to know how to find it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that that piece is what's lost
Yeah.
in the newer in the gen, what is that, what are they, Z's?
What
I
is
don't know,
I
what letter
don't
we up to. I don't know what letter we up to. The little people,
know.
those people, those people, I think that that's lost because, like, I took my kids on Saturday to the
Mhm,
museum
mhm,
first and then the
Mm-hmm.
library. That was
right,
our Saturday morning. We were
mhm,
home by noon, but Saturday mornings we went to the Newark Public Library to the Newark Public Museum because WBGO was going to have a jam session, and then they let the kids touch all the music, and then after they finish touching the music, then you go in the museum and you do a little project. After that, you have a little break, have something to eat, and go next door
yeah,
to the library.
yeah,
That is what's missing
mhm,
now. But what happens if we cannot access it in the palm of our hand?
yeah,
If we don't know how to use a card catalog.
right,
That's why I'm saying for tomorrow, we
mhm,
need to unlearn
yes,
this fast track thing.
yeah,
Because if you
Mm-hmm.
want to really hurt someone, like what do they always say? If you don't want nobody to know about it, put it in a book.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
right. Or
Mm-hmm.
now, if you don't want your children to know what you're talking about, or if you want to confuse them for hours, write them a note in cursive.
For
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
right, yeah,
Hello, is this thing on?
yes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
exactly. But in understanding that we really have to get to there because the technology of tomorrow is coming fast and furious, and it will simulate. I'm with a company now that I
Mm-hmm.
invested in that will simulate all that we think we know right now, right? And it will
Mm-hmm.
simulate that, and it will further be more artificial intelligence, if you will. So
But it's not real.
it's not
Mm-hmm.
right. That's where I was going. It's not real. So therefore, and again,
Mm-hmm. But
even
if but again,
you
just to add to that, to what you're
mhm,
saying, and allow you to go back to it, but just to
mhm,
add to that so that our listeners can understand, it not being real also means that it doesn't connect to anything in the history.
right.
And a
Yeah.
lot of times when people are looking things up, like for example, they always have these things where the people today, Roberta Flack passed. That's a
Oh, yeah.
historical thing that Roberta
Mhm,
Flack is gone. But
mhm.
the thing about it is, before I could post that she passed, I had to go to 2 or 3 sources to make sure that it was real.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God, yes.
Yes.
Because
Because we get
Yes.
information
Right.
that
Yeah.
we that connects in some
Uh-huh.
way. It
Right.
connects enough
Hmm.
to get our attention,
Yeah.
but does it connect with the truth?
Right. Yes. Yes.
And
And so
if
we.
you never knew the truth, if I
Mhm.
never knew who
Yes.
Roberta Flack was, I
Hmm.
never would have even looked it up.
Right. Right.
But
And
because I knew the history,
yes.
my
Yes.
thing was, let me look this up before
Hmm.
I repost this on any of my pages. I have to look this up.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is just what you're saying, Felice, that yes, we have to be so careful
Yeah.
of the information that's being, dispersed, because of the
Yeah.
simple fact that it may be based on just a tad bit to catch your eye.
Right. Well, here's the thing too, Nanette, about that, which this scares me. And I know God said, "Don't you don't have the spirit of fear." But here's the thing: you had a connection with Roberta Flack first and foremost to even acknowledge and care and want to pass that information along because again, you're because of your connection, right? That you would even do that with this new artificial world. It will be that a person will come up and we'll just stick with singers as the example. Someone that becomes a singer and a famous singer. And it will be, in a sense, so artificially done that when they pass away, it will be like, oh, well, because we can just artificially put that person in and keep perpetuating new stuff using that person will be long gone, and again,
Yeah,
we'll
we're
not
still
be
using it.
connected.
Yeah, we're
We'll be
still
so
using it.
and not
Mm-hmm.
using it in the way of, oh, they'll never make a new song, and we will revisit
Mm-hmm.
all of the music that they've done. So in that sense, they'll live on, but they'll only live on in the sense of the space that they were here. Anymore, it will be oh well, we artificially intelligent them in the beginning, so there won't be that connection to, oh, that
Yeah,
person has
to
died.
whatever it is. Yeah,
I
it's
think that that's the thing that they're trying to, like, I use the term indoctrinate,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's the thing that they're trying to force down our throats now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because of what you said, we are ruled by the heart
Yeah.
and not just the head.
Mm-hmm.
I think that for women it's both, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have a little bit more pushback
Mm-hmm.
against that
Mm-hmm.
than than let's say our average male,
Mm-hmm.
because it's mechanical,
Mm-hmm.
and they are
Right.
they're the thinkers, the
Mm-hmm.
thinking group. um so I think that just because it's that's the way that they want us to go,
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to do our due diligence
Mm-hmm.
to keep us human.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Yes. That is our purpose, everyone's purpose, no matter what your role is. And what you're saying leads me back to my head and heart thing, is that, we can't live totally with heart, because logically we need to do certain things to to ensure our survival. And so that's where men and their thinking comes in. But when they only, they will focus on their thinking and miss the point of, God has given us that we are to love one another. And when you're thinking with your head, love comes secondary. So that's where the woman comes in that says, you're thinking not too logical, but you don't have that element of
Yeah, you
love.
don't have balance.
Right.
You
So,
don't have that balance.
so yeah, so even given that, we if you eat meat, my heart is not want to kill an animal, right? And so if I'm over here trying to keep all the animals alive and loving on them and everything, and only letting them die on natural causes where we can't eat it, when that happens, and then the man is over here saying, no, this certain amount of animals have to be
Food.
for food, right? And so, but you can't say, well, you can't kill every single animal we have because they need time to procreate and keep perpetuating, right? And
Mhm.
but you want to kill everything and hang all the meat up to dry. Well, what's going to happen when there's no more animals to kill, right? So the logic and the heart need to come together, and that's what gives us the balance in life. And
Yeah.
the last thing I want to say, because I know, oh my gosh, we are way over, but when it comes to the root, and as you were talking about the seasoning, and so the Bible tells us that God says, I am the vine and you are the branches, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if some by God's design, we will always stay connected to the vine. There will be someone in our lineage that is predestined in purpose to stay in contact with our creator, and
Mm-hmm.
those will be the seeds that keep getting dropped, and those are the seeds that have kept getting
Mm-hmm.
dropped. And
Mm-hmm.
even though the branches are pruned so that the tree can be stronger and grow, and the branches can bear fruit and bear good fruit, I feel that that will be our tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have to make sure of that. And in closing, I just want to thank those that view this and understand that yes, it is a little different than the regular Black History thing. We were not trying to bring you to tell you who Harriet Tubman was or is. We were not trying to give you any information on that. We were basically trying to get you to set your mind to trying to connect your family
Mm,
in a way so that you understand how history plays a part of your life. in all facets. We did family dynamics, we did the business dynamics, we did health, we did the women transitioning, and we did go over time, but it is a subject that is deep rooted in our hearts.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, we also wanted to be deep rooted in yours. So it's
Yeah.
not just a February. And how ironic is it that we were given 28 days
Mm-hmm.
to go over the history of people that have been a part of existence since existence? You
Sure.
know, how is it that we're just given 28 days to say who we recognize,
Yeah.
and then not even recognizing ourselves, we're pointing fingers at other people and not recognizing where the wealth and the goodness in ourselves comes in, where the wealth and the goodness in my neighbor comes in, where the
Right.
wealth and the goodness comes in from my pastor or my friend.
Mm-hmm.
um 28 days just ain't enough.
Well,
It
that's the point too. 28 days is not enough. 365 days are not
is
enough
not
either.
enough,
So it
you know.
might as
So
well be 28 days because
right.
even
So
at 31 days, you can't give justice to it.
right. So as we close out this month and we look at this month, what I want you guys to start remembering is that when they say it's Women's Month, there are Black women. You know, they're Black women to be celebrated. When they
Mm-hmm.
say it's Cancer Month, there are Black families that are going through cancer. When they say, you know, whatever the month is, we're
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah.
We're there. Whatever the month is, there's Black excellence
Mm-hmm.
going on in every month of the year. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and it's not going on one day in that month, it's going on, you know, every day in that month. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, Black history is year round.
Mm-hmm.
We want to thank you guys for being a part of hanging in there and listening to us babble about what we think was important, and what we thought should be brought up and brought out. I want to thank our special guest, and she will be back from time to time, I'm sure. Gheisha Smith, thank you for
Mm-hmm.
being a guest
Yes.
tonight. We appreciate you. We love you madly.
Yes.
As I said, everybody's got to have a twofold. You got to be able to look to your right and to your left, and then around and around and around. Where are your people? You know, and if you can't do that, I suggest you get into your Black history and find you some friends. So
For
I
sure.
want to say good night to everyone. Have a good one. Join us next week. We'll have our regular show again next week, and if not, we'll invite Gheisha with another topic. That's all.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So have a good night, all. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
standing
Good
by,
night.
being a part
And
of
have
our
a
I
little.
enjoyed you guys. I will talk to
blessed
y'all later.
All
Bye.
right. Good night.
time. All right.